Noah and his wife Name, played by Jennifer Connelly, they have 3 sons, and 2 of them are played by famous people. One Douglas Booth and one Logan Lerman. And Logan was he came in and he just wowed me, and he wasn't really what I was looking for, but you know, sometimes someone comes in and they just surprise you. And then Douglas, who is, you know, beyond a heartthrob of the moment, just his acting chops were just incredible, and I wanted to work with him. She wasn't really even on my list, but she came in and just wowed me, and I read her a couple of times, and I was just excited the chance to work with her. And she plays Noah's adopted daughter. A big character that's in the Noah story, of course, is Methuselah, the oldest man alive, a character from the Bible who lived during, you know, Adam's times and died the day of the flood. Casting that character was very hard as well. How do you portray that? And I wanted someone really strong and someone really powerful, a warrior, because there's a lot of writings about how he was a great warrior. And so we found Sir Anthony Hopkins, and I had the great pleasure of working with him on this. Ray comes from such an old school and you know, demands so much respect. So, you know, it was hard to cast someone who could stand up to Russell Crowe, that you could think could beat up Russell in a fight. But I think we landed pretty well with Ray. And whenever we could get Russell and Ray face to face, mano to mano, acting chops to acting chops, right up against each other, it was a great thrill. It was a big thrill each time I got to show the actor the actual arc. You know, both the interior and the exterior. The exterior was massive and huge, and the interior was, you know, just so complicated and way beyond what our expectations could be. It also looks a lot better. I mean, no matter how good CGI got, there's nothing of real physical spaces being, you know, lit by real physical light. Shooting in Iceland was really tough. It was an incredibly beautiful landscape. I wanted to shoot in Iceland because, you know, Iceland's all volcanic, and it's kind of the newest Earth that's out there right now. It's the tectonic plates are spreading, and actually new Earth is coming up and creating the island of Iceland. So because we were making a film set such a long time ago, we decided to use the newest possible land possible. It's a dream come true, you know, you know, that the kind of kernel of my creative life when I first started to write was based in Noah, and now to see it come to life on the big screen and be able to share that story with believers and non-believers around the world is just an exciting opportunity. It took many, many years, probably longer than any film I've had in pre-production. This has been the one we've been building to make, and I can't wait for people to see it. What's interesting, I think, is so believers will recognize all the great different images and all the great moments and all the great themes that are in it. They'll definitely be seeing them in a way they've never experienced them before, because the idea was to reinvent them for the 21st century. You know, in some ways, there's more truth to it. You know, like for years, people have been looking at an ark that looks more like a boat. But if you actually look at the description in Genesis, it's a big box, which, you know, proportionally we captured exactly, you know, to the exact size. And for non-believers, it's, you know, I think I really want people to know that this isn't your grandmother's, you know, Bible movie. It's a big, fantastical, biblical world that's. You'll be surprised with that it's not just that kid story you heard. There's a whole great story about the end of the wickedness of man. There's never been the availability of visual effects to mount something like this. No one's ever actually undertaken the Noah story because it was nearly impossible to do. All the animals, the great deluge, the first rainbow, how could you ever imagine that? But now, you know, it's possible, and it's one of the great stories. You know, it's a story that's in every culture in some form, and it's at the basis of, you know, 3 of the major religions. And so I think it's a story everyone knows, and for some reason it touches people in a very deep way. So to be able to bring it to life in a way that's never happened before is a great opportunity. it's important to do research on any project you work on. And the nice thing about it is that my writing partner, Ari Handel, has a PhD in neuroscience, so he's able to go out there and talk to every expert in the world. So every biblical scholar, we were able to reach every animal scholar, every bird scholar. So if we were looking at the flight of the dove and we weren't that happy with it, we can easily send the footage off to a scholar and he would say, oh, well, the wing flap isn't quite the right angle or whatever it was. So we did endless research on this, trying to understand the story of Noah and what it meant for people around the world, and as well as the details of the world and bringing them to life. If you're telling the story of Noah's Ark, one of the biggest challenges is figuring out how you're going to deal with the animals, and working with all those live animals beyond being difficult and beyond being politically questionable. It just didn't capture the animal kingdom I wanted to capture. I wanted to capture the great variation that exists out in nature. And so instead of it looking like a zoo with a polar bear and panda bears and giraffes, I wanted to do something that captured the entire animal kingdom.